If you do, she has reign to do what she chooses. Authorization.
Hi. I'd like to thank everybody for coming this evening. My name is Aric. I am going to be talking about wind power energy and what you may not know. I've been in the power industry for 15 years. I spent 8 years in the United States Navy as a nuclear power technician. I also spent 7 years at a gas-fired combined cycle power plant. And I currently work as a system operator at the local utility here in Oklahoma. What we do there as a system operator is we monitor the transmission lines from 69,000 volts and higher. The World Wind Energy Association published a report in 2009 about the world wind energy generation for 2008. In this report, it stated from the years 2005 to 2008, wind power generation doubled in that time frame. Also on Wikipedia, they stated that wind power for the world generation is now 1.3%. So 1.3% of the world's generation is now wind power. But as you know, with any type of power generation, there are some pros and cons. Well, the major issue with wind is reliability. There was a study done by Stanford University, Mr. Jacobson and Archer. They published this report in the Journal of Meteorological and Climatology, which stated that if you built 10 different wind farms and connected those up, you could get a 33% reliability. But if you dig further into that report, you'll find that they base that off of an average capacity from that wind farm. And what does that capacity mean to you? Well, when they build a wind farm, they say, we're going to build like a 700 megawatt wind farm. Well, that would be the capacity if that wind farm could produce at its full capacity with enough wind blowing at the right speed and everything, and everything was working correctly. Well, as a system operator, we see that and know that it's a 700 capacity powered wind farm, and then we take that and we take a percentage of it because we can't rely on that power. So what we do is we always normally give it a 10%. So if it's 700 megawatts, we'll give it 70 megawatts. So really what their study was saying was it's 33% reliable with that 70 megawatts, not the 700 megawatts. So you're going to have to build a lot of wind farms to get some reliable power out of that. The other thing is the wind peak doesn't peak when we need it, when the electrical grid is peaked out. So during the nighttime, normally wind peaks, we'll get a lot of power from wind, but there's no way to store it. So what ends up happening is they had to shut off some of the turbines or try to limit that power so we can keep up base load power that we do at the system level or the grid. So to help with that fluctuations of power, we get a lot of fluctuations from wind. They'll go from 90 megawatts. I did an interview with a gentleman named Mike Fuller at the work that I do now, and he has seen megawatts as high as 96 megawatts go to zero in a matter of seconds because they had to turn all the turbines off. Well, when you're providing that much energy or that much generation, as we call it, and it goes away, you have to supply that power. Well, not a lot of plants or fossil burning plants like coal and stuff can move power that quickly because they have to heat up all the boilers and all the turbines, and it takes a lot of time to move that quickly. But there is a power plant that can do it. It's called a combined cycle power plant or a gas-fired power plant. They can start up very quickly. They can move up to 15 megawatts a minute or more, so they can move very quickly to basically balance out that type of generation. So you would end up building, most likely if we do a lot of wind on a large farm scale, we'll end up building a lot of gas-fired power plants to balance that out. So you end up kind of defeating the purpose of doing wind on a large scale if you do it with you're going to have to build that type of generation to keep reliability. But wind isn't bad. Wind is actually very good. Wind, down on the individual level, on the home level or individual business, these type of turbines are 500 kilowatts or less, You can put those right into your meter. And you don't have to have batteries or anything. You don't have to worry about hurting the environment in that manner. And run your meter backwards. Because in the middle of the night, when you're not using power, that wind generation could be generating and running your meter backwards. So then during the day, when you start using power, and if the wind isn't blowing, you still have reduced the need for utilities to make power because you've lessened how much energy you use. Also, if you combine that wind with solar, especially in our state, we have a very good solar rating. Our rating is 5 out of 6, 6 being the best. So if you combine that wind with solar, now you have energy during the day and the night, and now you've even lowered even further how much energy you need to use from the electrical utility. And now we've reduced how much the utility needs to make, so they don't need to build new plants. They actually run the plants lower, so now we're burning less fossil energy. And another alternative would be nuclear power. Nuclear power is very clean. Nuclear power is very reliable. And if we're going to build very large wind farms that cost a lot of money, it's almost just as cost effective to build a nuclear power plant that's going to be very reliable and very clean. As you can see, there are varying pros and cons for wind power. It is a very green energy. It is very environmental friendly, and it can help us reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and foreign oil and all that. And combined with that solar energy and possibly building other powers like nuclear energy and other renewable resources, we can end up in a point where we can have a better impact on our environment and leave a better world for tomorrow. Thank you very much. All right.